Hello, everyone, and welcome to Santa Talk. I am Santa Tom. I appreciate you guys coming in, joining me on your Saturday. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much. I hope we can all learn something from one another. Tell me where you're checking in from. Tell me if you are a professional Santa Claus so I can recognize you. I appreciate what you do and how much that you invest of your time, your money, and your efforts. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys being here again. Tonight we have a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and that is being Santa year round, right? Having that Santa persona, that Santa personality year round. You guys let me know if you can hear me okay. If you can't hear me, I think I got, it looks like my mic's working, but I can never tell. So guys, it's been a great week. Last Saturday, I was in Ohio at a beard competition, and it was a lot of fun. And I will talk about, Jacob, what's up, brother? I will talk about that more in just in a little bit, because it kind of ties in with this show. Had a fantastic time. It was my first beard competition I ever been to. I wasn't competing. I was actually, they asked me to be a judge, which was a little nerve-wracking because I'd never been to one, let alone judge one. But it was pretty self-explanatory, right? The rules and everything that they laid out. But anyway, you guys let me know what you guys have been up to this week. And I'm going to say hello to everybody in here. Lewis was the first one in here. It was a pleasure meeting Lewis at the Buckeye Beard Battle. Him and his family drove down from New York. I would like to say they drove down to see Santa Tom, but they came down to meet everybody in the community. It was so good seeing him. His children are so good. They had such a good time. I got to take pictures with them. I got to give them a sticker or my magnet, my Santa Tom magnet. So it was wonderful meeting them. Noah Miller, yes, brother. Thank you for the reminder. I want to wish you happy birthday right now. If you will let me know that I've got a friend on Facebook, Noah Miller, and it's Santa, Mr. Santa. Let me know if that's you or not, so I can make sure I get the proper one on Tuesday. Santa Allen, how you doing, brother? It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Jim Murray, Small Town Traditions. Thank you, brother, for being here. Born Bearded Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man, as always. You know how I feel about you guys. Thank you so much. Jeff Harmon, Mr. Dapper, thank you. It was good seeing Mr. Harmon and Born Bearded Dave at the Buckeye Beard Battle both. It's such a pleasure meeting both of them. Jeff Harmon competed in 3 categories and did absolutely mustache, veteran, and I believe 12-inch and above. So he did great. Just absolutely was a pleasure and an honor meeting him. Jacob Leather made the belt, the grand prize winner belt for the Buckeye Beard Battle was absolutely beautiful. Bob and Terry, thank you so much for being here, guys. And I thank Frankie J. I'm going to tell you guys something. You know, Frankie, you know, you inspire me so much, probably more than you know, man. You get on every show. You support others, man, and that's what this community is all about. You embody this community, just getting on, supporting everybody. I really appreciate you coming in here, and I think we're caught up, guys. All right, so you know what got me to thinking about doing. Hang on, let me get this off here. What got me thinking about doing this today? You know, this isn't, these shows aren't something that I take lightly. They're not something that I sit there and think, you know, I got to come up with another, you know, I really want them to be impactful, and I want them to be something that we can all learn from each other, hopefully. And this is something that I was watching Santa Ed Taylor at the Santa Claus, Worldwide Santa Claus Network talk about one time. And that was being Santa Claus year round. Right. And, you know, why should we do that? Why can't I be Santa Claus, you know, November through December and then take the rest of the year off and just act however I want to? We're going to get into a little bit of that, you know, and you guys know I end every show with, you know, keeping Christmas in your heart year round. Right. And there's a reason, guys. And I don't just say that just to say it. I say that to constantly remind myself as well. So, Kay, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you. Ooh, look at that, man. My hand looks funky. when I wave there. Thank you so much for being in here, Kay. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right, guys. So what we're going to talk about today, if I can get on the right slide here, and I'm going to have to blow this up, so I'm going to have to take it into full screen. If you guys leave comments or questions, I will get to them. What's going on there, Kobe? How you doing? It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. But the subject I want to talk about today is, I don't know who that handsome Santa is there, but I tell you what, I need to get that. I need to get my beard down about that length again. All right. But the subject I want to talk about today is the importance of portraying Santa Claus year round. Now, do I just mean Santa Claus? Really, it's being who you are and being, regardless if you're a professional, clown or professional entertainer in general, the one thing I don't want to do is get on stage or get on in an event and be somebody that I'm not. Right now, there is that part we put on that suit and we become Santa Claus, almost like Superman putting on that suit and going from Clark Kent to Superman. Right. I know that's kind of a weird comparison, but that's how I feel. I'm not so much a different person, but I can take on a different personality. And so that's the things that we're going to talk about today. All right. So maintaining the Santa image year round. I want to talk about and discover why it's essential for professional Santas to uphold the Christmas spirit throughout the entire year and lasting joy. I'll give a few examples, but I mentioned on a show last time or the time before that I was walking. I had a DOT physical that I had to go do for truck driving, right? Even though I don't drive anymore, I keep my CDL, but every year, I have to go do a physical to make sure that I'm still qualified to drive a truck. Well, I was a little early, so I was going to go into the store, and I forgot what I was going to get, a water or something. So I was walking into the HEB there across the street from where I was going to do my physical, and this lady and her husband's walking out of the store. Well, she looks at me and does like a double take, comes running up to me and gives me a big hug. Santa, well, they had recognized me, or she had. Now it was a little uncomfortable because her husband or her boyfriend or whoever it was, her partner was there with her. And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? But what if, I'd have been just acting out or doing anything that I wanted to be doing at that moment? What kind of perception, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more, what kind of perception would that put out there? As a father, as a mother, the way that we act around our kids means a lot, right? And, for example, my daughter had to go to the principal's office last week because my grandson was acting out in class and said a couple words he shouldn't have said. And that, my daughter said, hey, I have nothing to say. He learned it from me. I guess while I'm talking, I can do this, but he learned it from me. So there's, one thing, and my daughter will tell you this, one thing I've always told my kids is there's always consequences to your actions. All right. You want to use that kind of language around your kids. If they pick it up and use it at school, guess what? Now there's going to be consequences for your actions, right? One of the things I never did, and guys, I'm not getting down on anybody that cusses, drinks, smokes, anything like that. Hey, you be you. But the reason why I don't do it is because of that perception. I never cussed around my kids. I don't cuss around my wife, or I don't do that because, and I'm not going to let anybody else do it. Now, what they do is on them. But while they're around me, I try to politely ask people, please don't do that. Why? Because I don't want them to be subject to it. The same concept goes with being Santa. Whatever you do, and especially the age that we live in today, whatever you do, if it gets caught on social media, photos, we all know that lasts forever, right? It's out there. All right. So again, we're talking about that perception. Hey, what's going on, Chris? Thank you so much for being in here. So there we go. All right. Let's go to the next slide. All right. Year-round Santa presents. So maintaining the Christmas image keeps the magic alive for children. And this is where I'm going to have to blow this up because I can't see. All right. Professional Santa Clauses should embody the spirit of Christmas all year. When children see us, they may recognize us outside of the holiday season, helping to maintain the magic. Additionally, remember that anything shared on social media, just what I was just talking about, is permanent and can impact your image. Consistency is key to building trust. And we're going to get into some statistics here in just a little bit. What do most people think about, when they think about Santa Claus? He's the jolly old happy guy, right? And one of the hardest things to do is maintaining that image year round. Trust me, I know. Right. So one of the favorite things at work when those guys ask me, if I start getting frustrated about now Santa wouldn't do that, and I'll remind them, I don't try to manipulate Santa either. But yeah. So yeah, should Santa be out in public getting angry or using language that it probably shouldn't? I don't. Now, whether somebody else does it, that's up to them. All right. The videos that I put out, and guys, I'm not tooting my horn. Please, I humbly talk about this, but the reason why I put out the positivity that I do is to constantly remind myself, if somebody else gets something out of it, guys, that is great. And I hope that they do. But it's mainly for me because I constantly have to remind myself daily. And guys, this could be anything in your life. If you wake up and decide that today is going to be a bad day, guess what? The majority of the time, it's probably going to be a bad day because you've already got it in your head that this day is going to suck, right? I used to say this. We used to have this saying in the military that if a man wakes up today and thinks he's going to die, he's probably going to figure out a way to make that happen, right? And that's just kind of paraphrasing a larger scale of things. Maybe that's not a good example, but you get my drift, right? So you always got to remind yourself. People, you hear people say all the time, what happens around December, the end of December? New Year's resolution starts coming out. I want to be a better person. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop doing this. I want to start going to the gym. I've been saying that for the last 30 years. Right. But until you wake up and make yourself do something, it's not going to happen. Always reminds me of hey, I appreciate that, OG. And welcome in, brother. Thank you so much. OG is from Houston, Texas, just right down the road. I'd probably go visit OG. The traffic's so bad it'd take me 2 days to get to him. But anyway, thank you so much for being in here. But all right. So children's recognition. Now, this is a photo of me, and this child was actually lived across the street. They've since moved, but I visited their family. It was Christmas Eve, and the family couldn't afford a Santa Claus to go do pictures or anything like that. But guess what? This little girl every day would be out in her front yard. They had a big fenced-in front yard, and every day would be standing out in her front yard, Santa, just waving and just coming home from work. I wasn't dressed as Santa, but to her, that was the persona. Now, what if I would come home, throwing stuff out of my truck, screaming, yelling, and yelling at my phone, or somebody aggravated or something? What kind of perception would that give to that little child right there, who is just the sweetest little girl? All right. Now, that night I went over there. The parents had their presents. They wanted their kids to have some presents on Christmas Eve, so they had the presents sitting out on their garage. On their garage, they had like a covered carport. Put them in my Santa bag, and you can see it right there to the left of me. Right there, it's sitting on their couch. But my Santa bag, put the toys in there, went in there, had a great time. Right. Because, guys, all of this is the money nice? Sometimes, of course it is. And I do have a business, so I do run a business. But guess what? It's not always about the money. Right. So children often associate the magic of Christmas with Santa's image. When they see Santa during the holiday season, they build a connection. If they encounter him in public throughout the year, it reinforces that magical belief. And then social media, again, with the social medias, maintaining a consistent professional Santa image ensures that the enhancement remains intact, making every interaction special and memorable. The worst thing I can do, or the worst thing that I feel like I can do, is what's the best way to say this? I don't ever want to be fake. I think one of the best compliments I got, and again, guys, I try to always remain humble, but one of the best compliments and what meant the most to me is not that the people were so thankful about meeting me or so happy about seeing me at the Buckeye Beer Battle because I was happy to see them. But the best compliment I got is, you are just the same in person as you are on your videos. And that meant more to me than y'all can ever imagine. Right? Because why? That means that I have programmed myself, that I've trained myself to live exactly the way, pretty much, practice what you preach type thing, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell people, hey, let's, keep the spirit of Christmas alive in your heart year round. And then as soon as I get off, bah humbug, right? But that's what I try to do. And guys, it's hard. I'm not going to say this is easy, but the older I get, the more I start to realize I want to make that impact in people's lives. And what's the best way to do it? You got to stay positive. You got to constantly remind yourself, these company owners, you got Jim from Small Town Traditions, you got True North in here. And if anybody else jumped in, I apologize. But what motivates these guys to get up every day and grind, and the blood, the sweat, and the tears, and make these products to get out to take care of these beards? Well, obviously money is a motivating factor, right? But they've also got an image to uphold. If they get out there and just act, and they're constantly having to work, their social media presence, their advertising and all that, it is constant, getting on Dan C or, Jim with his social media posts. It's about getting that image out there of what you want people to perceive your company or your business or your character like, right? I hope this is making sense. But yeah, so that little girl, that little girl, she's just the sweetest thing. So her perception of me is I'm Santa Claus, and I don't have an issue with that one bit. I don't go over there and or come home and perceive to be something else to her, because when it comes around Christmas time, when I see the look on her face when I come in my full regalia and in that suit, that means something to me. That really, really means something to me. As corny as it may sound to some, it means something to me. Okay, here are some statistics really quick. Let me blow this up here. 75% of families in the United States believe in Santa's impact on values. Now, I believe that it's a shame that it's not higher than that it's only 75%. But guys, just like in any community or anywhere you go, you're always going to have that, in this case, 25%. But you're always going to have that small amount that may not represent the community as well, right? 85% of families support Santa year-round involvement. And here's a picture of me. Don't mind the legs. Them legs ain't seen sunlight in a lot of years. About the only time they do is when I wear shorts for my summer, just Christmas in July. But 85%. So some of these kids, this was at a daycare. Some of these kids, I see them out all the time because I don't live in a very big town, but I see them out all the time. They recognize you, right? So you're always going to have to constantly be aware, even if it's just walking to my truck on the way out of the store, how I, telling people, excuse me, hey, how you doing? Just being polite, right? And this was supposed to say 60% events hosted by professional Santas yearly. You believe that? 60%. So, between I would imagine birthday parties, Halloween, I'm on a group called Gig Salad, which is pretty much a promotional group. You put yourself in there and they promote you. You can do a free version, but you can also do a paid version. And they kind of do what Dan C does for these guys that he's involved with, is he promotes their product, right? Or like if I get on and do a beard product review, or Dan, Bearded Dan gets on there and does a review, he's promoting that product. Now, whether you get paid for it or not, I kind of do the free version, right? Some people may charge a little bit, whatever the case is. I don't have a problem with none of it, because I do the same thing when it comes to my Santa business. I pay somebody to promote my product, right? I pay for my website. I pay for my insurance. I pay for pretty much everything that's involved, but that's the cost of owning a business. So there again, you've always heard me say that the word professional Santa Claus means something to me. And as far as being a professional, I always forget to take this down. As far as being a professional, I believe you should maintain yourself in a professional attitude, right? No matter what you do. All right. So there is that. Why do I carry insurance? Does every Santa carry insurance? No. Do you have to? No. Do some people require it if you're going to go there to their place? Yes, they do. I carry it to be above reproach, right? So it's just an added extra benefit. It's an extra cost. Absolutely it is. But it's an added extra benefit and security for me and security for people that I'm going to see. Hey, just so you guys know, so when I give them the documentation, the contract, so to speak, of the agreement, is I include that and my certification and all that, so that there's no doubt that I present myself above reproach, right? That I present myself as a professional, as it should be. Okay. And I'm like that at work. I'm a stickler, not about rules, because I do believe that rules can be bent. All right. But you first have to, and I hope this makes sense to some of you guys out there. In order to bend the rules, you have to perfect the rules first. All right. That means you have to know how far you can bend them rules without breaking them. Right. And I do that all the time. I've wrote most of the standard order operating procedures at work, our SOPs at work, the policies, if you will. So why? Because I'm familiar with it. I spent a career doing that kind of stuff. But I also know that if I write them, I don't have a choice. I have to follow them, because how would that look if I was writing the policies and I wasn't following them, right? And so when I was asked to do that, a little hesitant at first, but then I said, you know what? I'm already living that way. I'm already bringing myself and doing this every day at work myself. So I might as well go ahead and write it. And what does that allow me to do? It allows me not only to hold myself accountable, it allows me to hold others accountable. All right. So those drivers, they already know I was in their same position. I expect a person, and I'm not like, guys, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm a hard nose, but I'm a stickler on certain things. One thing is you got a time to show up to work, show up. Right. I've got this saying that I'm very well known for: be where you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do. That can go for life in general. I raise my kids on that, and I hold that, and I practice that every day. I don't care if I'm supposed to be there at 4:00. Today, this show started at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I was sitting down in front of my computer 30 minutes early, getting stuff ready, right? That's just how I am. Now, does that mean you've got to be like that? And if you're not like that, you're this bad person? Absolutely not. That's just what I strive to be. All right. Baker says, Santa Tom, do you got an opinion on Elf on the Shelf? I want my kids back. I want my kids back then to behave because I taught them manners, not because of an elf is watching. I do have several opinions on it. For one, they're kind of I don't want to say freaky. They kind of freak me out a little bit. Anything like that does, any kind of them dolls. Do I have an issue with it? Do I think they have their purpose? Yeah, absolutely. I think little kids, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the, like what you're talking about, using it to behave. But hey, if it's a tool that can help, I don't think a person should just rely on that, and I can't really say nothing because I did make these stickers here. And I put them on magnets, and I took these to the Buckeye Beer Battle and passed them out, right? So what I've been telling these kids is, put this on your refrigerator, and this is how Santa knows that you are being naughty or nice. Is that a little manipulation? Maybe, probably, but is it effective? Yes. Is it a business ploy? Yes, because it's got my barcode on there that if the parent clicks on it, well, it takes you to my Google webpage, which takes you to my website and all that. So it's marketing. Yes. Does it make it right? I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. As a business person, I don't have an issue with it. But the Elf on the Shelf thing, it's it's whatever a person believes. If it's something that a person wants to do, hey, more power to them. It's like I never agreed with putting kids in the corner for timeout. Yeah, it's not how I was raised. I was raised, you smarted off or you talk back to mom or dad, you was probably picking yourself up with the ground. Not abuse type of ways. You just got smack mouth, or you got whipped right there on the spot. It was dealt with immediately, right? There was no go sit in the corner and think about it for 10 minutes. Is there a place for that? Absolutely. Has my mentality on that kind of thing changed? Absolutely. I have an autistic grandson who I love dearly. He's a twin. He can get a little upset sometimes. People with autistic kids know what I'm talking about. He can get a little upset sometimes. But he knows that grandpa doesn't put up with it. Now, am I patient with him? 100%. Do I love him? 100%. But when a tantrum starts or something like that, I gently pick him up. I bring him in the room, lay him down, cover him up, and walk out of the room. The first time that happened, he really, really freaked out. However, he's in a quiet place. He's in a safe place. And he knew that once he stopped, which was usually immediately, he could come back out and join the rest of the family. That's how I handle it. Is it the right way, guys? I don't know, right? It's just what I have found is the most effective with me. It doesn't make him love me any less. And I'm sorry I'm getting off on these little tangents, but it's just the way that I handle things. So, I would say, Baker, it's an effective tool if you want to use it. I just bought my youngest granddaughter, who's still in the hospital. She's been there, guys, almost going about 2 months, right? I bought her a little elf on the shelf, and I took it to her, and hang on, get a little emotional over that. But is there a place for it? Do I think it's neat? In fact, I did a video of some ideas on Elf on the Shelf, and the video on YouTube actually did very good. But it was more of a playful type thing. It wasn't for like a corrective action, this thing's watching you, you better behave. It was more of kind of like little mischievous things that it would do around the house, making little messes and things like that. So, yeah. How are the elves going in the workshop? They are going good. Right? It's busy, getting down to crunch time, guys. We are in the low triple digits to Christmas, guys. Ready or not, somebody made a comment on Facebook today. They walked in the store and they said, I think it was I forgot. I appreciate that. Santa Allen. It was somebody that's normally in here, but I believe they made a comment, and they said they took a picture while they were in the store as Halloween stuff up. And they said, "What do you mean Halloween? It's September. There's supposed to be Christmas stuff up in here." I thought that was funny because, typically it don't take long, but I promise you, next month, October, your local store will be filled with Christmas stuff. So I appreciate you being in here so much. Thank you so much. But okay, guys, let's get back to this slideshow real quick. The next. Now, some of this is going to be a little repetitive. Bear with me. The social media, the digital footprint. Okay, in today's digital world, social media presence is paramount. Children who encounter Santa Claus during Christmas season might later recognize you in public, especially if you're putting things out on social media. Professional Santa Claus must remember that their online activities can shape a lasting impression on young minds, and not just young minds, guys, but adults as well, right? If I get out here and start acting a fool, or somebody catches me half stepping, right, off the way I'm supposed to be acting, trust me, people are going to call you out. They're going to know if you're fake or if you're real. All right, public recognition impact on children. Again, when Santa is spotted in public, it adds to the authenticity of the character. Children who recognize Santa Tom feel a special connection, making their Christmas experiences even more magical. This public recognition is vital for maintaining the Santa spirit. Santa, why are you still here? Aren't you supposed to be in the North Pole? Well, I'm taking being quick-witted. I'm taking my summer vacation, and what better place to take it than in Willis, Texas, right? And then they'll laugh, and what is that building? That's building some community, right? Community spirit plus some Christmas spirit, because I love my community. I want to serve my community. I want to be an impact in my community. All right. So there's that. All right. Year-round image. Consistency is key. Maintaining a consistent image is crucial for Santa professionals. When kids see Santa Tom throughout the year on social media, cultivates familiarity. The consistency nurtures a sense of magic and excitement. It reinforces the joy that Santa brings during the holiday season. All right, so being consistent. All right, that's what we've been talking about, right? Being the same way when I get off this camera and I go in there and say hello to my wife, because I've been in here for half the day preparing for this, and going there, spend some time with her. Or am I going to sit there and talk about this kind of stuff on camera and then go in there and treat my wife however I want to? No, right? That's why I wanted the change in my heart. Guys, I spent half my life seeing, so much destruction, so much violence. I wanted the second half of my life to be filled with happiness and bringing happiness and hopefully a little bit of joy to other people. So the lasting impact of building trust, the impact of a professional Santa's actions can resonate for years. Every interaction, whether online or in person, contributes to a child's belief and excitement about Santa. By prioritizing a positive and engaging image, Santa ensures that the magic of Christmas endures throughout the year. All right. So kind of really emphasized on that. Right. And it's so true. I'm just going to take this, whatever your religious beliefs are. All right. But let's just say if somebody says they profess to be a certain religion, denomination, whatever you are, hey, I'm a Christian. Right. What's the first thing somebody does? All right. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. What's the first thing somebody does if you accidentally slip up, right? Oh yeah, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that, even though they're living their life however they want to. The first thing they're going to do is when they see you slip up, oh, how dare you? You're supposed to be this. It's the perception, right? It's the concept, and we're all human, guys. We're all going to mess up. We're all going to do things we're not proud of. I do them daily. I get frustrated at work just like everybody else does. I get frustrated sometimes with my wife. Yes, I do. And I can promise you, for every time I get frustrated with her, she's frustrated with me 30 times more. Right. That's just the way it is. I told her when we first got married, I am not an easy individual to live with. Now, we met a long, long time ago. So, but I hope I'm a little bit easier now. Jacob, Tom, and all the Santas, thank you for keeping the spirit alive. I'm 48 and I still get excited seeing Santa. Thank you so much. See, stuff like this just makes my day. Just 100% seeing, hearing stuff like this. Thank you, Jacob, for being here. I appreciate you so much. Heck yeah, same here, Jacob. Thank you. And that's my hope, guys, is that when people see Santa, now, is there people out there probably going, man, this guy right here, does he ever stop? Probably. And that's okay. I probably do get on some people's nerves, and that's okay. But I'm not going to stop being who I am. And nobody's ever going to say, boy, oh, Tom, he used to be like this. He used to be, this and that, because I'm constantly reminding myself daily to do the right thing. Santa Allen, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And guys, Santa Allen, we're going to have him in the Santa Squad. That's coming up on the 27th, I believe. Santa Allen, going to have a group of Santas on, as well as on the Trace Amigos talk show. I talked to Steve and Dino. We're going to have a group of Santas as we start getting closer to Christmas, because we had such a hit last year, and we're going to do even bigger and more this year. So is Santa Tom going to be throwing Santa at Christmas in your face? You daggum right I am. You're so good at doing well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Well, there you go. So I think I've pretty much covered everything I want to talk about on that. Let me make sure on that one. I think there was something I want to talk about. Kids see Santa Tom. Yes. Okay. On the internet. All right. That's why you're never going to see me put out something. And I will tell you this, something I put out yesterday, and then I'm going to get back to this. Something I put out yesterday, and guys, I'll be honest with you, I was a little nervous about on my YouTube channel, is I put out I don't know what you call it, a crossover. So I took my love for Christmas And my nerd side of Star Wars, and which I've loved since I was a kid. You know, I went to see Star Wars in the movie theater in 1977. I was 7 years old. And I put my love of those two together, and I combined and made kind of like a Star Wars. I'm making a series, Star Wars Christmas theme. So if you get a chance to check it out, by all means, please do. I'm having fun making them. They're nothing grandiose or anything like that, but I'm having fun putting the stories together and making those and doing the artwork on AI and stuff like that. So I'm hoping some kids can get some enjoyment out of it. But, oh, Jacob, man, well, thank you so much. To help with a family that you can't afford to hire a Santa. Well, brother, I'm going to tell you something. I would hope I have the same heart you do, man. If somebody can't afford something, I'm not going to charge them for it. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. You are a great Santa. So, well, hey, I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, you guys, this stuff, it's not easy for me to I'm like Tyson in this area. I appreciate the compliments. I don't take them very well just because, I appreciate it. Boom. Way to go, Jeff. Yeah, thank you very much, man, guys. Yeah. Appreciate you so much, Jacob. That's very kind, and I will say this publicly, and I'm never one that really ever worries about losing followers. But my wife and I want to say this: I constantly pray for you and your wife. I'll leave it at that. All right? And I know my wife has, but I won't say she constantly does because I don't know that for sure. But I do, and thank you so much. And I believe that your wife is, hey, man, I just, for you and your family. All right, guys, skip back to this. Okay, the next slide is year-round Santa impact. Now, this first picture here is me and my oldest grandson. That is Ryder. That is at their house. I went over there. It was early. It was like November, and took some Christmas pictures with him. So to be a role model. Santa embodies kindness, compassion for children, right? You should. All right. To me, Santa should be that superhero. That's why I'm making those videos where Santa's the Jedi. You know, he's the hero, right? He's this guy that goes in the galaxy and is the hero. He's the one that saves worlds and makes turns everybody good, right? So that's the whole premise of those videos. But being a role model, I want to be a role model first and foremost to my wife, right? I want to be an impact on my wife. I cherish my wife. I love my wife. I want to be a hero to my wife because she's a hero to me, right? I want to be a hero to my children and then ultimately my grandchildren. Why do I do what I do? Is to leave a legacy that hopefully one day that my grandkids could look back and their kids could look back on social media and say, hey, that was your grandpa. That was your great grandpa. This is the impact, hopefully, that he had, right? And this is the good things that he did. This is the positivity that he shared. And hopefully, just hopefully, some of that will rub off on them. All right. Public perception, maintaining a positive image promotes, again, trust and loyalty. And I'm big on loyalty, guys. I am huge on loyalty, whether it be at a job. And do I think that that's necessarily you should be loyal to a fault? No. All right. But I am big on loyalty, that covenant kind of mentality. All right. Like my marriage is very, very important to me. Have I always been perfect? No. But it is a covenant. It is an agreement that my wife and I made with each other in front of that judge, the witnesses, and we made that commitment that we were going to be there for each other. And it means a lot to me. And the last picture here is at the Texas Renaissance Festival. And that is somebody right there. That young lady right there is with the Elmore family. If you haven't checked them out, they got a channel on YouTube called the Elmore's Family Adventure. They are absolutely wonderful. I don't know what Mr. Elmore does, but he must make a good living because they travel all over the United States and go to Disney World, Disneyland. They're just always everywhere, different Renaissance festivals. And this is one of their daughters right here. And I got to see them last year. So at the Renaissance Festival, let's talk about that for a second. Well, Tom, I know you just don't always, you've never done nothing out there at the Ren Fest. Guys, I've been going out to Renaissance Festival since 1978. My brother and I have. Now, when I was in the military, I didn't go, but we've been going out there pretty much every year since then. Have I partaken in some, frivolities, or however you say that, some spirits and things out there? Absolutely, 100%. Will I do it out there when I'm dressed up, even in my Celtic Christmas outfit or my Father Christmas? No. No. Why? Because what happens on camera, and I take more pictures when I'm out there at that Renaissance Festival dressed up like that than I do anywhere else. Everybody wants a picture with Santa Claus or Father Christmas, right? So the persona is, if I'm out there with a beverage in my hand, that's the perception I don't want out there, right, of myself. Now, could I put on a different? And again, am I condemning people that do that? Not at all. This is just for me. Yeah, you're very welcome, brother. So is Darth Vader Krampus? Maybe coming up in a future episode. The first 2 episodes, no. There's evil people, but Santa winds up prevailing and turning them back to the right side. So, but it is all Christmas themed. Okay, the first one that's out right now is the Yule Cat, which is in legend. All right, the Yule Cat, Yolokoturan, all right, so to speak. And he was in the movie The Christmas Chronicles. I believe it was the second one, right? Kind of showed the Yule Cat. Santa was out there hunting him and trying to capture him, right? So that is Christmas themed. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it like that. The number 2 that's coming out, it'll be a surprise. I want to put them out. I want to put them out now, right? But I'm trying to wait, put a week in between them to kind of keep the suspense up. But I'm hoping they catch traction, guys, because both of them are a passion of mine. All right, let's get back to this. All right. So the next slide, Santa's year-round engagement. Why professional Santa Claus should embrace their role all year long, maintaining the Santa image throughout the year is essential for professional Santas. Children who see us during the holiday, some of this is going to be repetitive, guys, may recognize us again in public. Additionally, remember that anything shared on social media lasts forever. I cannot stress that enough, no matter who you are. I can't imagine that Jim or Chris from True North Beard Company was in here. And in fact, I need to do a giveaway, guys, or better yet, if any of you guys out here that are Santas or anybody out here that wants some beard products, please, as always, reach out to me. I will send you some beard. I'll get with you and talk to you, talk about your beard type. And again, my whole premise for this whole channel and doing this on Saturdays is trying to bridge that gap between the bearded and the Santa community. People have reached out to me and have had questions. And typically what I do is I'll go get a Dan C video that's related with it, and I'll give them some Dan C related videos and say, hey, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I can reach out to Dan, or I know Dan wouldn't have a problem if they reached out to him. But hopefully trying to bridge that gap and get people more into health conscious decisions on their purchases of oil and beard products, right? So if there's any of you out there, as always, I mention this on every show, if you need or can't afford or want to try some, you're just not quite sure and are looking for some good companies, reach out to me, because any company that I endorse on this channel is a good company. I'm not going to try to give somebody some old trash, right? That's full of chemicals, that's bad for you, that's not going to do your beard justice. I went into for a because I'm scared to get up my beard trimmed, but I'm going in to get it trimmed up, probably about 3-4 inches taken off, and round it up to get it ready and get it right. It's just too heavy right now. I can't get it to the shape that I wanted it. But I went in there and the barber was amazed. He says, you don't have any split ends, and you haven't had a trim in how long? I said, almost. December will be 2 years. This is about a year, a little over almost 2 years worth right here. He was amazed there was no split ends. I told him, I said, well, I use good quality products from some good companies. So I know I'm getting off topic here, but guys, please reach out to me if you do need some good quality products, because what I'm probably going to start doing, guys, I probably send out 2 or 3 boxes of beard products a week. And I've got so many because I purchase a lot from companies that I support. True North, I buy a lot of like shampoos and conditioners, which I have a lot of right now that I'm trying to go through. Beard butters, things like that, liquid butters. Jim from Small Town Traditions, his beard oils, really try to support these people. But what happens when I do that and I do these reviews and do things like that is you start to become more of a collector. You accumulate. So I have plenty. So if you need some, please reach out to me. If you've ever thought about, hey, or was just curious or just afraid to ask, don't be afraid to ask. Your beard is just as much as an investment as, like I always say, as your boots, as your belt, as your suit. So please don't take your beard for granted. Take care of it. Keep it healthy, and I promise you, it will make a big impact in your Santa journey. Hey, Bubba, how you doing, brother? Thank you so much for coming in, brother. Santa Tom beard trash on BBC Etsy now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, and there's some good companies. I know Lee. Lee's on EDC, and there's a couple good ones. Magnanimous Beards on Etsy now as well. They're a decent company. So yeah, I need my beard to be dyed white for my beard products, please. Well, and I try to be careful how I say this. And I'm gonna try to get somebody on the show that can show people how to do that and walk through the process, kind of like I had. The mustache curl, for those of you that watched that show a few weeks ago and with Jeff Harmon, but I want to have somebody on that can do that because guys, you can really damage your beard by bleaching it. I would never even ask Dan C, who I rely on a lot for a lot of information, but I would never even ask him about, what's the best way because I know exactly what he's going to say. It's almost like, asking your parents if you can do something that you know is wrong. Hey, can I go out with you? You're 16 years old. Can I go hang out with the boys tonight, drink, and we're going to go out to the lake? Well, you know what they're going to say if they're a responsible parent, right? So I already know what he's going to say. So, but if a person's going to do it, I would prefer having somebody on that could show them the proper way to do it, where they're going to keep the damage down to a minimum. Now, a lot of people dye their beard and do it in stages, right? So it's not as bad. I know Santa Allen does, and really, and plus he keeps good quality products in his beard as well because he's become part of the bearded community. He's been learning about this stuff. So hey. This is my conviction why I don't dye my beard. Now I do use a whitener. All right. So yeah, and I have gone over that kind of stuff in earlier videos. I use a whitener punky spray, things like that you can buy on Amazon, and my beard's white enough. And it looks a little darker on camera out here with this light showing on it. And I'm looking into my camera right here. It looks a lot whiter, but because I guess I don't have it bright enough in here, it looks a little darker. But trust me, it's white enough. I can use some spray, and it's good enough. All right. Yes, he sent me some here in Michigan. Yeah, and I got to get some more out to some folks. But yeah, by all means. And if you ever need more, Santa Bubba, please. Trust me, guys, when I say I've got enough products to last me a lifetime, I've got enough products. You're not going to deplete my stock. I would just rather give it to somebody. I've already purchased it. Give it to somebody who can use it and get something out of it, and rather than it go to waste, because eventually it will go bad, right, after a year or two. So, yeah, but just reach out to me as always. Santa, you got any extra baby reindeer? Well, no, but hey, OG, same with you, brother. You live right up the road. I know I've sent you some stuff, man. Have you ever see any products or ask me if I got some products that you may want to use? You ain't got to be a professional Santa Claus. If you're a brother or sister in the community, reach out to me. Trust me, I'll get it to you. I ain't gonna charge you nothing. People always, let me send you some money for shipping. No, I like to give. My passion is giving. Right. So, hey, I'll leave it at that. All right, guys, let's finish this up because we got about 10 minutes left. And I went over this one. All right. So here's some of my milestones that I'm shooting for, guys, that I want to see in my professional career, Santa career. Milestones for Santa Tom's journey. More community outreach. I want to launch more initiatives to visit local schools, spread holiday cheer. I am going to a library, I think in November. I'm looking forward to that. It's the next county over, probably 10 miles down the road, but it's in Walker County, and I'm looking forward to that. But I want to get into more schools. Why? Because guys, it's an opportunity. Do I even have to charge anything going in there? Absolutely not, because most schools are funded for certain things, but not for that. But if I can go in there and bring some cheer, guess what? Now all of a sudden these kids are going home. Hey, and if I'm passing out stickers and magnets and things like that, these kids are going home. Could that potentially lead to some more jobs? I hope so. But I want to be involved in my community. I think we all should want to be involved in our community in one way or the other to make an impact or make a difference. All right. The second one is charity fundraising. All right. Organize annual toy drives, or at least being a part of that. Right. I know there's the Toys for Tots, who I've been involved with. There's Angel Tree, which I've been involved in, and things like that. So gifts for the underprivileged children in need. Guys, we don't have to really, even though I do support through Compassion International a child. Again, I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. I probably shouldn't even let that come out, but supporting children by through Compassion International in another country. But guys, there is plenty of children in this country that need help as well, that are may not be able to get a toy for Christmas or some toys. And boy, if we could just make that happen for just one or just a handful of children, what a difference that would make, right? And lastly, the joyful impact. I want to achieve the goal of spreading joy to 1,000 families during the holiday season. Am I even anywhere close to that right now? I don't know. I don't visit 1,000 families. Hopefully, I have the impact to reach 1,000 families. Maybe on social media, I don't know, but that's my goal, is to visit, to have some events like, and when I talk about tree lightings or parades, you don't charge for that. You do that for your community, or at least I do, right? And hopefully that will have an impact. And then go out there, guys, and be a rock star, right? You go out there and let's say if they're not paying me anything to do this, hey. It's not always about that. Now, I'm a big firm believer in you charge what you're worth, right? But there's some things when it comes to community, charity, and things like that, hey, you go out there and give it like they're paying you 10 grand for being out there an hour. I'm going to go out there. I don't care if I'm getting paid for it or not. Santa Tom's coming out. I ain't half stepping. I'm coming out and I'm going to be the biggest, loudest, most joyful Santa they've ever seen in their life. My hands are going to be up in the air. I'm going to be waving at everybody. I'm going to be hugging children, taking photos, doing whatever I got to do to make that impact in my community. All right. All right, Santa, you got any extra? Okay, I already read those. I have no doubt that you will achieve these goals. Well, that's my goal. If we don't set goals, Dave, we won't reach them, right? And I don't set goals half-heartedly either. I strive. If I set a goal, that's why I try not to set out 30 goals, 2 or 3, achievable goals where I want to see myself in 5 years, in 10 years, right? And I got a 10-year plan, but yeah. All right, let's get through this. I think I'm about at the end. So again, we're going to close it. Recognition throughout the year. Children who meet Santa during Christmas may recognize him in various settings throughout the year. Familiar faces for children. Creating lasting memories, consistent character portrayal, encouraging and joyful atmosphere. Guys, these are just things that I try to live my life by. And I hope it helps others out. The permanent nature of social media, again, posts last forever. I'm just kind of going over this kind of putting everything into paraphrase here. Potential for misinterpretation, impact on public perception, importance of image control. And I want to talk about that one here in just a second, the potential for misinterpretation. And engaging with the community. Maintaining the Santa persona year-round allows for stronger connections with the community and builds goodwill. All right. Attendance at local events. Even if I'm not a Santa, if there's another local Santa out there and I'm able to go be involved in it, hey, go support another brother, right? It's not all about competition, right? Opportunities for charitable work. I'm always looking for opportunities, right? I want to go to Texas Children's Hospital this year and spend as much time as I can there because they've been taking such good care of my granddaughter. Strengthening community ties and building a positive reputation. All right. And guys, a reputation is something that will last you a lifetime. And it's hard. It's hard to build a good reputation, but guess what? It only takes one misstep or one fault to ruin that reputation, right? It's that old adage, you can do 100 things right, but it only takes doing one thing wrong for them to forget about those 100 things right that you've already done. All right. And the potential for misinterpretation. How many times do we see that in the news that a celebrity or a minister or somebody that's in the spotlight will say something and the media will take it out of context. They won't, they'll just take that one little phrase, that one little sentence they said, but they're not putting everything into perspective. It's just easy to do that. So always be above reproach. There's a reason why you'll see these, and I'll go back in a second. There's always a reason you'll see let me get back out of here. You'll see my hands in pictures. There's always a reason I'm wearing white gloves in pictures, or any kind of gloves, but you see my hands, right? Because I always want to be above reproach. Something, again, guys, I don't know if I should mention this, but somebody that I admired very much was Billy Graham. Of course, we all know he passed away, but something he said when I was a younger man stuck with me always. He made the comment to somebody, and he was talking about adultery and marriage and being above reproach in marriage. He said that he never allows himself to be alone with another woman. He never allowed himself. So if his secretary ever came in the office, somebody came in with her. Guys, to me, that is so powerful. Some people may say, oh, we're beyond all that, and no. All right, because he's a man just like us, right? He's able to slip up and mess up just like we are. All right, so I always want to be above reproach. Don't ever want to give anybody a reason to say, aha, look. Okay, so I'm always very mindful and very careful of the things that I say. I know they joke around on the Trace Amigos talk show about, oh, be careful what you say around Santa Tom. Well, good. Right now, not that I care if they guys are cutting, acting up, and cussing or whatever. Yeah, I'm not condemning them guys, but when you command the that kind of atmosphere, there's nothing wrong with that, because I want a family-friendly show. I want a show where people can feel free to come in. They can talk how they want to. All right, but if it gets out of control, they're going to know, hey, I am going to say something. All right, guys, let's finish this up. I get just a second here. What else we got here? And we're going to close it up here. Santa's year-round magic, maintaining the Christmas spirit, is why Santa should shine all year long. And thank you for joining Santa Talk with Santa Tom right here, guys. I just wanted to put this up here at the end. If anybody ever needs to talk, always feel free that you can contact me. There's my email address. There is my professional website, santatomtx.com. Feel free to go in and look at it, critique it, give me some opinions, advice, whatever you got. And there is my phone number. I can't believe you're putting your phone number out there, Tom. Well, guys, I want to tell you something. We live in an age now to where there's caller ID, right? If I see somebody that's calling I want to talk to, guess what? I'll talk to them later, right? So, but I always want to be available. I always want to be available for if anybody needs to talk, if anybody needs me. I always want to be available to my children, to my grandchildren, if they ever need to talk. My daughter called me today because of some events that occurred this week. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She was devastated because she was in that generation of that young man, and she just needed to talk because she was very upset. And hey, that's what we're here for, right? But the same goes for each and every one of you guys here. All right, I'm here for you if you ever need me. If you ever just want to talk beard talk, if you ever just want to talk Christmas stuff, if you ever just want to talk life in general, by all means, feel free to reach out to me, because I know in turn I could probably turn around and reach out to most of you, and you would be there for me, because most of you are. I want to thank each and every one of you guys. Black Manor Grooming, thank you so much for coming in and catching the end of it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming in, Renee. Appreciate you, and you are so special to this community. I just want you to know that. And all right, guys, Well, that I hope you enjoyed that presentation of why we should be portray Santa Claus year round and not just in the month of December or in November and December when we're doing photo shoots and all of a sudden we put on the smile, and portray that character year round. Right? Give that persona. Does that mean that should make you should be weak, or does that make you weak? Not at all. All right. There's nothing wrong with having some joy in your heart. There's nothing wrong with spreading positivity. So I encourage you to be that way. And if you ever need anything, again, guys, please reach out to me. And you are very welcome, Renee. Thank you so much for coming in. Guys, that's going to do it. It's been an hour. I'm going to cut it off there. And we will not have one next week, but I believe the next show we have will be with the Santa Squad. So, but I'll talk more about them with that. But guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. And until next time, remember, this world could use a little kindness now more than ever. And always remember to keep Christmas in your heart year round. Appreciate each and every one of you.